How have you been? Yeah, I got some news for you. Actually, we are going to get flights from Europe coming in from, well, I don't know if they start running on Monday. That's probably not very likely, but from Monday they are allowed to be arriving. So anyone who has been thinking about coming to Peru in the very near future and coming from Europe should check out the schedules the next coming days. I'm sure you're going to find some really good offers in terms of flight prices, etc. And I should say there will be flights from Madrid and Barcelona in Spain, and from Paris and from Amsterdam. Um, However, there will be no direct flights yet from the UK. Anyone having been to the UK will not be able to arrive to Peru if he has been to the UK the last 14 days. It also includes Brazil. So Brazil is also off limits for people arriving to Peru, unfortunately. So, but anyway, it opens up a lot of possibilities for people in Europe to come to Peru, maybe over Easter. So I am preparing a special Easter program for anyone wanting to come, and it will be with a focus on bird photography, but we will visit all the best places to see the most spectacular birds in Peru. And you can join up for either for a shorter trip, if you like, for just 5 to 7 days, but the whole thing, doing both the Mano Road and the north, plus a few days in Lima, and alternatively also Machu Picchu, will take about 14 days. So yeah, that's that's the good news. Also, so what about this quarantine then? We had quarantine. Mandatory quarantine for anyone arriving to Lima. That is also taken off, sort of. As before, you have to have the PCR test less than 72 hours before arriving to Peru. But now they are also demanding, in order not to go into 14 days of quarantine, that you take a antigen test when you arrive. And they are setting that up at the airport, so you can get your antigen test at the airport. You test negative, free to go. And with the way that the flights are running now, also with all the protocols, etc., in the airports, I feel it's a very safe way of getting to Peru without getting contaminated on the way, so to speak. Um, so what about the situation here, the COVID situation in Peru? Is it improving anyhow in any ways? Yes, it is. We have the numbers have been getting more stable and are actually going down a little bit from last week. So it's very positive in that sense. They also eased up some of the restrictions in terms of moving around in Peru for the coming 2 weeks. And I suspect that by the beginning of April, it will be even more open. We will also have elections like from the second week of April. I think it's April 17 or so, around that date anyway. And so that means that people will have to be able to travel in Peru. Last week, I went and did a pelagic from Marcona, from Punta Lomas in the south, just south of Nazca. And when traveling there, I had actually to take a antigen test before getting on the bus. That has also been taken off now, as well as the restriction of having to have a PCR or an antigen test before flying domestically in Peru. So it's quite obvious that we are going in the right direction, so to speak. So a few more things. Yeah, getting back to the pelagics, that could be quite interesting for people as well. I am setting up a new project. I have this rather large project in mind about arranging pelagics in Peru again. And if you have followed me before, you know that I was doing pelagics from Lima for many years. We pioneered that here in Peru from, I think it was 1999. In December, we ran our first chartered pelagic in Peru. And we were doing that until 2017. And then all of a sudden, the port authorities were sort of clanking down, busting the boat operators, which were open speed boats, and they were not having the safety requirements to go so far, like 35 nautical miles, which was sort of necessary for the 1,000-meter mark, depth mark, and the continental shelf. And so we have been trying since doing pelagics from Paracas, but it's been very expensive. So and then the results haven't really been that great either. It's actually further to go from Paracas to get to the shelf. So it was extremely costly. I had to charge like $300 per person, and we still didn't get to the shelf. So. But I have been eyeing an area for a long time, which is south of Nazca, and there the continental shelf is only like 10 miles out, 10 nautical miles out, which is in sort of safe distance from the shore also if you'd have an emergency or so forth. However, there are no fast boats. So that's where this project is coming in. We want to get our own boat. And obviously only to run pelagics, that would not be very sustainable in terms of the costs involved. They are rather high to get 2 engines and a speedboat. However, I'm thinking that maybe now is the best time to do that, the best time to actually get that speedboat and 2 engines, because I'm imagining that a lot of the operators in Paracas are trying to get rid of their boats right now because they don't have any tourists. So it's the right time to be bold and do a invest and get this thing started. Now, pelagics only will probably not work, but my idea is to also offer whale watching here. And we know from reports that there are whales around, and also from my own experiences that there are whales around from November to about March, and the peak seasons with migrating whales is actually November and March, April. So that should help us quite a bit to be able to marketing these trips, coastal trips for whale watching, and with people that are coming to Nazca anyway. So there are about 150,000 visitors that fly over Nazca lines every year, and just getting a few percentage of those doing whale watching and marine wildlife next to the coast should be quite possible. Nobody else is doing it, right? Further north at Paracas, there are about 250,000 people visiting. So I just sent out a newsletter about this, and you probably have got that if you get my newsletter. If not, please send me a message and I'll make sure you get on the newsletter list. It was a very long one, so I thought I'd just explain shortly what it was all about. So the next problem, of course, is how to raise the money for this purchase. Obviously, right now, there is not a lot of money in the bank, having not had much work during the last year or so. So, but I came up with this idea, and I'm thinking that I could give you an offer to come on a trip with us that is also, you plan a trip to do a trip with us in the near future. Well, maybe not in 2021, but between 2022 and 2024. And I will give you a really, really good discount. So here's the deal. And this is, I also explained this in my newsletter, but I also published right a few minutes ago. On my blog on colibriexpeditions.com/blog/ yeah, whatever the title of this one is, but /blog, and you will find it there as the first post. So here's the offer. You deposit for any trip that you would like to do with us all over the world. You know, we also do the 7 Wonders birding, right? So, and $1,000 now, and I will give you 10% interest on those $1,000, which seems kind of crazy. But if you think about it, if we were to get a bank loan on this very solid idea with Pelagics in Peru, we would probably have to spend something like 12 to 14, 15%. And most likely they wouldn't even give us a loan. You know, the banks would say, well, what kind of guarantees have you got? You know, I got a vehicle. That's about it, but it wouldn't cover, you know, for getting a loan from the bank. So that's a much better idea. So you will get 10% interest on the $1,000 that you deposit. I will open up like one slot for each tour, each departure. 2 slots if you're a couple traveling together, that's okay. And then those will come onto the calendar and other people can join the same trip. And now, so what does that mean in real money? Yeah, well, if you say you do a trip in 2024, those $1,000 will be worth $1,350 so $350 almost in interest in 3 years. So that's not bad, huh? That's pretty good. And because it's compound interest, so you get interest on the interest, right? And you can choose the destination. You don't have to choose the destination now. You can do that later. And here's the other thing that we're doing right now. We're getting credit card payments sorted out. And the deal that we are getting on, they are actually having a special offer. So the first 2 months, there is no costs involved in transferring the money. So the money, the $1,000 that you deposit with your credit card, we will not have to pay a percentage on that for 15 days. So it's a grand opportunity. This is also explained in that blog post that I was posting, so you can check it out there. And hopefully we get some people signing up for this. If we get some 30, 35 people, we're safe getting the boat. I'm also getting, I should say, we're getting partners with this whale watching pelagics projects locally in the area. So the ship skippers and also people at the port authorities and so forth are interested in the project, and they will contribute with, say, between 3 to 5% of the total amount. And I also have 2 researchers that research whales and cetaceans in general. So it's going to be like a science-based pelagic sea watching, whale watching operation south of Nazca from September 2021. So the idea is to form the company by July and then get our permits and sorted by September and start operating. Obviously, to start with, there will be few departures, but you can start booking those departures. If you don't want to come down with just $1,000 right now, you can still book the Pelagics, and we will put it in the calendar and we get more people. And the good thing, since it's only 10 miles out, we will be able to run these Pelagics with very few people. The cost will be $185 for the Pelagics, and I think around $50 for the whale watching ones that get started, but that is, with full boats. With the Pelagics, we will not take more than 10 people on the Pelagics at one time, so everyone has good opportunity to actually watch the birds well. So that's that. So you can start booking as soon as you want. Send me an email, and if you want to come doing some pelagic birding with us. I think that was more or less about it for this time, and I will see you later. Take care now. Bye.